Hey guys, welcome back. You guys are joining us for week 3 of Foundations. Over the past few weeks, we have been learning the foundations of our faith, and today we are looking at a home that just got its plumbing and wiring in. You can see all of the plumbing, and this is what you might be able to see behind the walls of your house, right? Did you know that there is this much behind your walls? Crazy, right? These kind of pipes, they kind of help your bathrooms. They can be able to help you get water through your walls. And this is so cool. So guys, I wonder, what do you think today we're going to be learning about our foundations? Remember, week 1, we learned all about creation, right? That God created the heavens and the earth, and then he created man. And then week 2, we learned about the fall of man, what separates us from God. I wonder what week 3 is going to have in store for us. I can't wait to find out. Let's jump straight into foundations.
For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. His name was Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us. A noble birth, Jesus was born to Mary and Joseph, a humble carpenter. God spoke through angels to Mary and Joseph, prophesying Jesus as the rescue plan for the world. He was born in a lowly manger in the town of Bethlehem. The King has been born. Jesus' ministry began with a wedding, where as a young man, he turned water into wine. A miraculous representation of the power of God. This started years of early ministry. Jesus called 12 men to drop their nets and follow him. At that moment, they were no longer fishing for fish. They would become fishers of men. In the months to follow, he performed countless miracles. He helped the blind to see, the deaf to hear. He spoke throughout many nations of the love of the Father. He raised the dead to life through the power of the Father. He spoke to men, women, and even children. He met people where they were at, speaking through parables so it's easier to understand. He taught people to love God and love others. But before he did all that, we see a spectacular interaction with a man named John the Baptist. Then Jesus came from Galilee to the Jordan to John, to be baptized by him. John would have prevented him, saying, "I need to be baptized by you, and do you come to me?" But Jesus answered him, "Let it be so now, for thus it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness." Then he consented. And when Jesus was baptized, immediately he went up from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened to him. And he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and coming to rest on him. And behold, a voice from heaven said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased."
Last week, Brandon talked about sin. He talked about Adam and Eve being separated from God, but God had a plan. God had a plan, and his name was Jesus. We learned just a few months ago at Christmas when we talked about Jesus being born as a baby. It was miraculous that God sent his only Son down to us to save the world. And this week we're going to talk about Jesus starting his ministry here on earth. It was amazing that God sent his only Son down to the earth to save us. When we think about even Mary being pregnant with Jesus and going to visit her cousin Elizabeth, and as soon as she walked into the house, the baby that was in Elizabeth's stomach turned. And you know who that baby was? That baby was his cousin John, who grows up to be John the Baptist. When Jesus was going just at the start of his ministry, he came to be baptized. He came down to the river where John had been baptizing believers for months and months. And John saw him from a distance and said, "I am not even worthy to put your sandals on. I don't know if I want to baptize you." And Jesus reassured him, "John, you are more than qualified to baptize me." and he baptized him in the Jordan River. And a dove flew out and proclaimed to everyone that God the Spirit said, "This is my son." And then Jesus started his ministry after that. Have you been baptized? If you are saved and you've accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior, the next step would be baptism. Baptism in water is a public profession of your faith. What does that mean? I want to tell everybody. I want to tell everybody that I believe that Jesus died on the cross just for me. That's what water baptism symbolizes, that you want everybody to know, the public to know, that you love Jesus and you've accepted him into your heart. There's many people in the ministry, even maybe you, who you've been baptized. We're so proud of you. It's so great to know that you've made that decision and that choice. And it's so fun. We're in this home right now, and we're right here by the water that's going to be life for this home, this unfinished home, just like we're unfinished. Water is a part of our life. And that leads us to the next part of us talking about Jesus's ministry. I was thinking, the next part of Jesus's ministry is when he chooses his disciples. He goes down to the water's edge and he sees a group of fishermen. And they said, "We cannot leave our job this is how we support our family. We are fishermen." And he said, "I understand. I want you to follow me. I want you to become not fishermen, but fisher of men." What does that mean? When we hear that, it's a little confusing, right? He wants the disciples to be able to talk to people, men, women, and children, and tell them the way of the Lord. The way through salvation is through Jesus, who they're going to spend ministry time together, 3 years. 3 years they're going to spend. They're going to be healing people. They're going to be preaching and teaching all around, and they become his right-hand men. There's going to be 12 disciples, and they're going to see miracle after miracle, and Jesus in the flesh. So cool. I wish I was one of the disciples, but I think I am. I think I am a disciple, just like you're a disciple. If you believe Jesus died for you, you can be a disciple and tell everyone about Jesus. We are his disciples here on earth now. And when Jesus was around healing people and talking with crowds and children, guess what happened? He really became prominent on people's radar, and not for the good. People started talking about him that they needed to get rid of him. They started talking about him that they need to punish him, send him to jail, send him away. They didn't want people knowing about God. They didn't want the message that Jesus and the disciples had to get out to the masses. They wanted to still have control over the people, when Jesus wanted just people to be in freedom and love and to follow God. We will learn next week what happens at the end of Jesus's 3 years here on earth. I think you know where we're going to head with that story, but just know that God had a plan for Jesus from the very beginning. Thank you guys for joining me on this journey, this foundational journey that we're going on. I can't wait for us all to be together next week.